Cloudcast Media.
Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
And hello to you. Thank you for listening to Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community. My name is Dave Mason, in for Drew Schlosberg today. But the important thing is we have special guests with us, and we have a special co-host. Hello, Shiva.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Shiva Kabra is the co-host today on Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community. You've done these, 400 or 500 times before?
Only once.
Only once before. How did it go?
It went good.
With Drew?
I did it with my mom and Drew. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that must have been very cool.
It was.
Well,
it was
good.
Cool.
Well, now you know how it all works.
Yeah.
We'll keep it going. We have a very special guest today, too. It's Irving Chavez, who is let me get this right, you are the Chief Impact Officer?
That's correct.
Is that it? For Just in Time for Foster Youth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Spotlight on the Community. Fostering children is very important, obviously, for, a number of reasons. And you've also written a book about this.
Yeah, we have. The organization wrote a book. It came about because we're in our 20th anniversary of the organization being, a nonprofit. Mm-hmm. And really, the book itself is co-written by some of my peers, some staff members who have lived experience in the foster care system. So really, the book is shifted around. The whole idea of the book is how to address a sense of community and the choices you need to make to be effective for those that you're serving.
Wow, it's deep, is it not?
It definitely is. Yeah.
What got you interested in fostering youth?
I myself was a former foster youth, or am a former foster youth. So I was in care for about 15 years. So it really just kind of was part of my life. It was a part of my identity that I never really wanted to explore. And now being able to have, my story in one of the choices in the book, it was still a little surreal, to be honest.
I'll bet.
Yeah,
I'll bet. But it's now out in the open, and people can really see what you went through. And I'm sure there are a lot of other people that have gone through this situation who would like to know that they're not alone.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, even the book itself, there are 6 other co-authors in there that we all share our story, and we share our story in an empowering way. We share our story in the way that makes us feel that we're not just telling our trauma. We are empowering ourselves from what we learned, and also sharing that with everybody else so that they can learn from us. So that's really what has helped us feel so enamored with what we do.
Yeah. What do you think, as writing a book and as someone who I want to be an author when I grow up, what do you think was one of your biggest challenges writing your book?
So for me, I'm going to answer this question kind of in a two-parter.
Good.
Yeah.
The first portion of it is my experience in care, because I moved so much. I actually didn't go to school for 15 years, so I didn't know how to write. So for me, writing the book, it was very intimidating. It's like, how is my writing? How is my grammar and all these other things? The beauty of it is that you always have somebody looking at it, right? And because of that, I always dove my nose into books. So my vocabulary and my everything that I do is building that, because I know that's something that makes me self-conscious. But really, writing the book, you don't realize how much knowledge you have until you put it out. And then really the way that it worked for me is I actually spoke it as speech to text, because sometimes I'm a lot better at speaking than writing, because you have to think, there's so many processes that you have to do to actually think to write. So for me, it was easier to just speak it out and then edit that. It's a recommendation that I have for a lot of people if you're not accustomed to writing that much. And that worked for me because, again, I didn't go to school, so I wasn't used to
That's a talent.
Doing that.
Yeah. That is a talent. I'm just the opposite. I can write things out. Sometimes speaking is difficult. Just so it's because there are so many things that are running around in your head, and I think that if you can speak it, that proves that you can become focused, and that's difficult for some people like myself. Yeah. What's the mission of Just in Time for Foster Youth?
So at Just in Time, we envision a future for which every youth leaving the foster care system has a caring community after they turn 18. Our goal is to build a community that empowers our participants to be confident, capable, and connected to live a satisfying life and achieve well-being. That's our mission.
And how long has the organization existed? You mentioned you just celebrated an anniversary?
Yeah, 20 years. 20 years this year. And we've been around. We started with 2 staff members, 1 staff member, and now we're up to almost 50.
Wow. Nice.
How long have you been with Just in Time for Foster Youth?
I've been with Just in Time for a little over 3 years, 5 days before the pandemic.
How did you get involved in this organization?
So I was a participant in the organization.
Okay.
I moved to San Diego to go to college, and through my schooling, I learned about Just in Time. My brothers also were a part of the organization. I have 2 older brothers, and they were a part of it, and they were always talking to me about the benefits of the organization. And one of the things is that people can always tell you what we do. People can always tell you the benefits of it until you get there. So then I got there. I was going to college. I received a computer. I received a printer. I received a shopping spree. And then I also joined a group of like-minded men to build healthy relationships with other men and get mentored through that as well. That's how I got connected. And then a little bit before I graduated, I didn't want to work in what I was graduating in, which was I graduated with a STEM major. And I didn't like the environment. So I knew about Just in Time and I knew about working with people. I've always been driven towards human behavior and just, people. And I thought, what better place than a place that has helped me so much. So I joined, and then the pandemic happened.
Which we're going to hear that we're going to hear that for decades, I think. Just in the whole pandemic and the way that it affected people's lives. You're listening to Drew Schlosberg, Spotlight on the Community, the leading voice, lifting community champions for 16 years. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, and we're in the Mission Fed studios. My name is Dave Mason, along with
Shiva Kabra.
And we're here with Irving Chavez, who is the Chief Impact Officer and co-author of Just in Time's new book, Life-Changing Choices, the 7 Essential Choices at the Heart of Transformational Change for Foster Youth and your community. Is there some way to just kind of go through the 7 essential choices in a nutshell?
Yeah, so the 7 essential choices that you can make to make sure that you are being effective with the foster youth community and your community in general starts off with one choice. And the foundational choice is either do you want to protect children or do you want to empower them? And that changes the entire narrative of how systems are built. And then every choice after that is really built on that one. If you're trying to empower people, then you're not seeing them as broken and deficient. You're seeing them as creative, resourceful, and whole. If you're following that one, you're not seeing the funding. You are sharing the impact, and that brings in the income. So those are kind of 3 of the choices that we have. And one of the most important ones also is that you don't it's much more efficient to listen to the voices who are the experts, who are those of us that have experienced care, instead of assuming what you believe that person's experiencing. So those are some of the choices that are the most powerful in the book. And like I said, every chapter starts off with one of our stories that are related to that choice.
Just a second, because something you just said that it makes me wonder. Are there people who think that they know what you've gone through, who think they know what your future should be without asking you? Have you ever run into that?
Yeah, definitely. I think the foster youth experience is always kind of portrayed in movies, TV shows, and it's so different. I mean, there might be some experiences that people can relate to, but everybody's is different. Like for myself, I actually had a relationship with my biological parents, and some people haven't had that privilege, right? If I were to use that word. So the foster care experience is so dynamic. It's such a spectrum of what people can actually experience that it's hard to boil it down to just one thing. The one thing that I will say, though, that I think that would help people understand a little bit more about those of us that experience the system is that regardless of what our situation is, the thing that we feel the most is disconnection. We feel disconnected to our family, to our culture, whatever it may be, or even just disconnected physically because you're moving around so much. So that's the one thing that I think is a commonality that most of us do have.
How many people has your book reached out to? Like how much of the community has seen your book?
So our book just launched about a week ago on Amazon.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, we're working on that.
So I don't have the metrics on that.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to. Our goal is for to reach to impact 100,000 people that have been impacted by the foster care system lives in the next 10 years. So our hope is that we're doing that. That's our mission.
And you're working with other organizations across the country.
Yes, we are. Yeah, we're currently working with an organization in Boston, Utah, and one, I can't remember.
Colorado.
Colorado, there we go. Thank you so much.
I've been looking at your notes, looking over your shoulder. Now, how do you get connected with these other groups?
Oh, so really, people just hear about us. I mean, every single time we ask people, like, oh, we just Googled, or we heard a radio spot, or also we are making an effort to go to other states to do like conferences, foster youth organizations, foster youth, gatherings. But the other thing also is that we just in time, at least on the local level, we have been instrumental in funding a foster. I'm trying to get this right because I always forget the acronym.
It's okay.
But it's Foster Alumni and Youth Community Empowerment Solutions. It's a subcommittee to the Child and Family Strength and Advisory Board. And it really, what it does, it provides a lived experience lens to influence current and future child welfare practices.
Wow.
So we have people that are currently in the system or have came out of the system that are in these meetings, using the voice, using their voice, and feeling the power of their voice, so that the decisions that are being made that are going to impact them and whoever else goes into the system.
Shiva wants to know about the significant challenges that the people that you serve are facing, and we'll find out more in just a minute because we're going to take a break. Just like in the real world, sometimes we just have to take a breath. You're listening to Drew Schlosberg, Spotlight on the Community. It's brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. My name is Dave Mason, substitute host for Drew Schlosberg with my co-host,
Shiva Kabra.
And we thank you for listening. We'll be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
Thank you for listening to Cloudcast Media's Spotlight on the Community and the DS Studio. That would be Drew Schlosberg. I'm Dave Mason in for Drew Schlosberg today. And on the Spotlight on the Community, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, we have a studio full, including
Co-host Shiva Kabra.
And Irving Chavez, who is the Chief Impact Officer and co-author of Just in Time's new book, Life-Changing Choices, the 7 Essential Choices at the Heart of Transformational Change for Foster Youth and Your Community. And Shiva, you had a question for Irving.
Yeah, what are your biggest community outreach challenges?
How do I answer this question?
You don't have to answer carefully. There are no wrong answers around here, for sure. You know, when you stop thinking about, when you ask the question, I'm sure there are probably 1,000 things running through your mind.
We don't have enough people. That's really what it is. It's really what it is. It's a challenge. Also, it's the foster care system in general, at least in San Diego County, it's very difficult to really have an accurate number of how many people are in care because of so many things. And there's a lot of what I would call red tape for us to inform people prior to them turning 18. So we only have access to people when they're already 18. And when that occurs is really like, that's when people are experiencing their life. So they're ready to get a home, they're ready to go to school, whatever that may be. So we tend to be an afterthought. So that tends to be an issue. Right now, what we're really focusing on is creating spaces and partnerships with where we know foster youth are at, but we don't know where we don't know. And I think that's the biggest challenge that we're facing currently. Luckily, we are doing a lot of efforts to put our voice out there, even being here today, right? So that people know who we are and hear from us, and then just remember that one time. But we're doing as much as we can to do the outreach that is possible for us with the people that we have.
What about education? Now, you mentioned you didn't go to school for 15 years.
The challenge in education?
Well, the foster youth and their education, the people that you're dealing with, is that a challenge as well?
It's a challenge for a lot of us to do well in school, I think. So I think one of the things that I'll go back to is, and this will tie into your question, is what we realized, and even for myself from personal experience, is that you might be doing well in so many areas of your life. You might get that career, you might get that you might go to college, you might go to the college that you want. Mm-hmm. And then once you are in those spaces, you're not able to worry about those as stressors. So the real stressors that maybe you didn't have time or you didn't have the nurturing to really start to focus on start to come up. So for me, when I was in college, one of the things that I never focused on was healthy relationships, healthy boundary making. So really it's like, oh, let me go to school, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna get a car. And those were always my goals. And once I had that, it all just started coming up. I didn't have anything else to distract me from my own healing. So we noticed that through the pandemic as well, right? Not just those in foster care, but into all of society. But those in foster care even more, because we didn't have a place to go, right? We were getting kicked out of campuses. We were experiencing all these things. And where do we go? We don't have the family members to go to and rely on during these times. So our when we were doing okay, now that was taken out of us. So now it got exacerbated. So we really made an effort to do our mental health services, what we call our mental wellness, in-house. So now we have a clinical psychologist on staff that supervises students that are doing their practicum, and they offer counseling sessions free of cost, pretty much 24-hour turnaround for our participants that are looking for that help. But that's what I would say is the challenge for education. And also, we are always encouraged to do education, but it's not for everybody, right? Not everybody wants to go to school. Some people actually have children and they want to work first before they go to school. So it's really identifying what you want to do with your life and the education itself, feeding into that.
Do you think your foster youth benefit from your mental health resources?
100%. Yeah. Because it's the idea of what we do as well, mm-hmm. right? It's not just the resource itself because it's so accessible and it's built for them. They don't have to be telling their story all over again because there's already an understanding that you come from the foster care system. But the other side of it is that we don't force anybody to go in it, right? A lot of our experiences previously with mental health have been either court mandated or any other reason to go, right? Something bad happens and then you go. So it continues to reiterate the idea that something's wrong with you. And we're changing that narrative to what happened to you. And now that you decide that this is something you want to work on, like it's your basic need. It's not something you earn. It's not something you develop once you're successful. It's you need this and you want this. Why shouldn't you get it? That's also the idea that we've shifted. We're really trying to shift.
How do people get in touch with you and your organization?
They can visit us online. We have an Instagram. They can visit us at jitfosteryouth.org. You can apply directly there as well if you're between the ages of 18 and 27. We also have an application and a website called the JIT Network, where it's built for community members or anybody that will support coaches, what we call coaches, which is our volunteers, facilitators, and us, my peers, alumni, that we're just there in the same space and we share a community space online. And then Instagram and Facebook, LinkedIn as well, all on the same handle.
The website again, jitfosteryouth.org?
Correct.
Okay, just want to make sure people get that. And I'm sure it's on the page here somewhere, but it's important that people get in touch with you and what you do. I liked what you said about relationships. And I think about back when I was a kid, I did not have to go through the foster organization. But it came from, my mom was a single mom for a while. And early on in life, I knew what I wanted to do with my life. So what did I do? I pretty much shut everybody else out. I didn't create the relationships. I thought, well, I'll be on the radio and I'll create relationships. And it's something that hurt me in life later on, because there are a lot of times people said, you're pretty crass and you're direct and you're pretty, because I always thought people understood what I was saying or knew what I was thinking. And it's not the case. And it's got to be even more difficult for someone in the foster youth program.
For sure, yeah. I mean, because most of our relationships that we have are kind of mandatory, right? So we have relationships with either families that, you're going to get placed here, if that's the route that you take, or you have the same social worker for 2 years and then that social worker changes, or you go to therapy, like I said, and the therapist changes after 2 sessions. So the relationship expectation is that people are not going to be there that long. There's a story that we tell in the organization about an experience of somebody coaching somebody that was in the foster care system. They were currently in the system, and they had been in their life for about 3 years. And they were younger, and they were always they would watch the same movie because she was young, so you watch the same movie. And they were watching this movie for like 20th time, and by the time they were just in the middle of the movie, and then she turns around and tells him, and this is the story of our CEO, just so you know. But they were watching the movie, and the person he was mentoring turned to him and said, "Why are you still here?" It's such a foreign concept to us that our relationships could last.
Yeah. Do your foster youth have any opportunities to be mentored from people older than them or even people younger than them?
Yes. So we have a 550 plus volunteer pool that people in the community that want to give back, some of which are alumni of Just in Time, so former foster youth that have been in our community for a while. And every service that we provide, a person gets paired with a coach. And the idea of that is that we are building this relationship, because a resource without a relationship is just a handout. So we're not about handouts. We're about building the skills around it. We don't only strive to teach people how to fish, but make them a part of a fishing community, so that they consistently get supported. So that's how we do our coaching. If somebody's not even doing a service and just wants to get coached and get mentored, then we have that as well.
With some of the things that you have mentioned, how would you change the fostering system?
That's a loaded question.
I know. My heart breaks when I hear some of the stories of why are you still here, or you feel you won't be with a family or a mentor or someone who came into your life who you may think the world of, but you'll feel they're not going to be here tomorrow, or they're not going to be here a year from now. That's heartbreaking.
It definitely is, and I think the system itself, I wouldn't say I'll answer this in 2 ways. One being that the system itself, it's built to do what it was supposed to do. It has an input and has an output. It's a system. That's what systems are. So the system itself might be very difficult to change. Mm-hmm. There are things that we can kind of alleviate for those that are currently in care, because as we create a new community approach, which is really what our book focuses on, there are still people that are experiencing this system. So that's how I'll answer the question, because if I go into all those details, we'll be here for 3 hours.
It doesn't. But thank you for that, and thank you for accepting my loaded question without throwing something at me. We're talking with Irving Chavez, Just in Time for Foster Youth. He's the Chief Impact Officer, also the co-author of Just in Time's new book, which we'll find out more about in just a second. This is Drew Schlosberg, Spotlight on the Community, coming to you from the Mission Fed Credit Union studios on Cloudcast Media and DS Studio. My name is Dave Mason.
I'm Shiva Kabra.
And we are happy to be here with Irving. You've shed some light on some things that really a lot of us don't think about. And we thank you for that. What's the future like for Just in Time?
10 years, I'm telling you, we're reaching a 100K community. That's what we're doing. That's our goal nationally, everywhere. We're scaling by sharing. So what we mean by that is we're sharing this mental model that I just spoke to you about. The idea that community, not systems, that you're not here to protect, you're here to empower. So we, as I mentioned earlier, the partnerships that we have nationally, what we're doing is sharing with them how to approach the people that they're serving, because that's what's more impactful. We all have our own solutions. It's really just creating the environment and the nurturing space to really have that person feel that they do have the power to make the change in their lives, which is why the book title is very important. The life-changing choices. We now have the power to make the choices that will change our lives. And this is how you do that. So that's how we're sharing as much as possible with as many people as we can. And the more we do that, the more work it is. But I've always said this, I would do this job for free, but please don't take me on. Don't take that work.
Really?
Don't take me on to that. But yeah.
You need to earn a living.
A little bit.
Yeah, to be able to get to continue the work.
Of course.
I mean, you can't do it without it.
What are your plans to, or if you have any, to expand outside of California? That's a loaded question too, but
well, it's exposure, right?
Yeah.
Exposure, and again, the scaling by sharing. What we mean by that is not just sharing exactly what we do. We don't want to create multiple just-in-times in New York or anything that would take another 20 years. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What we're trying to do is just share what built this foundation, because there are people in other communities that are already doing that work. And other communities have different needs, right? And we can't go in there and say, oh, this is what you should be doing, because what makes us different than a system? Really, the idea is this is how you should be thinking about what you're doing, and just improve it, right? And our goal is to still be able to also inform ourselves of the impact that's having in people's lives. One of the things that I did not mention is that we track what we do. So what I mean by that is that we don't say we gave a person $50 and that made that person successful. We asked the person, how does that success relate to your life? How do you feel about that? Do you feel like you're a saver? Do you feel like you can be financially stable? And that's how we answer the questions, and we write the impact that way. So that's another way that we're also going to make sure that even though we're sharing this model, that we're making sure that everybody else that's doing it is impacting the lives of those in the community.
Well, thank you for your time. Thank you for your efforts. Thank you for what you do. And thank you for shedding some light on something that I think is important. It seems important the more we hear about foster youth, what you're dealing with, really, and how you're trying to improve their lives. And you seem to be doing wonders, and we appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you for being part of it. Irving Chavez is the Chief Impact Officer of Just in Time for Foster Youth, and co-author of the book. Again, the title of the book?
The 7 Essential Choices.
There you go.
It's really life-changing choices, but the 7 Essential Choices for Transformational Change.
Right. The website is jitfosteryouth.org. Thank you for listening to Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community. I'm Dave Mason.
I'm Shiva Kabra.
And thank you for being here. Cloudcast Media and the DS Studio, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. Have a great day, and thank you for listening.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.